Tonight I'm joined by Annette Taddeo. She is running for CFO of Florida on the Democratic ticket. Annette, thank you for taking the time to sit down and talk with me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we texted the other day and you talked about you were volunteering for the Colombia earthquake efforts. Can you walk me through a little bit of what you've been doing?
Well, first of all, just a little bit of a connection. I was actually born in Colombia and raised in Colombia. I didn't move to the United States till I was 17. Daughter of an American fighter pilot
Hmm.
who ended up in Colombia due to his service to the United States. He was originally from New Jersey. Met my mother, and the rest is history. My mother from Colombia. So I moved here when I was 17. And so, of course, Colombia it's where I was born
Yeah.
and has a very, very special place in my heart. I also was the first Colombian American, not just the first Latina Democrat elected to the Florida Senate, but also the first Colombian American to the Senate,
Wow.
male or female or anything. And so, and believe me, I was told many a times that I wasn't Cuban and therefore I would never get elected. And telling this half Italian, half Colombian girl that there's something you can't do just makes you want to do it even more. So, of course, when the earthquake hit, it really, I mean, first thing we all did was check on our families, make sure everybody was okay. It was pretty scary for a little bit because the 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 phones, were overwhelmed with
Yeah.
everybody calling. So it was very, it was very scary that morning. But once, we started getting WhatsApp messages that everybody was okay, in particular in my family, then, then it started to hit us. Oh, this is not going to be good. We just went through Venezuela where we helped so many people. I was also involved in that because we have so many Venezuelans that were affected. But of course, Colombia hit harder because it's so close to me. So we have
Yeah.
been collecting. Well, first of all, I was very involved in making sure that American search and rescue went, and so people understand. 3 days before, the new president of Colombia had just been sworn in, like the Friday before, and this happened on Monday. So it was the weekend, and brand new, like, and
Yeah.
not necessarily friendly one side to the other side, the outgoing side to the incoming side. And frankly, from the perspective of people,
Hmm.
all that should be irrelevant. I mean, you
Yeah.
should still have transfer of power. We've had that happen here in the United States where
Not
they
too
don't
long
want to
ago.
give it up. And exactly. So this is not good. And of course, it created major problems. So I actually spent the first 2 days on the phone, constantly calling up friends in the State Department, actual ambassadors, and people I served with in the legislature.
Hmm.
Obviously, Republicans, because Trump is in power, but
Yeah.
I was able to reach them. They did call me back. I was able to find out what it was that we needed, they needed to send search and rescue. And then I was able to communicate with people of the new government in Colombia to get them to do that because it's just paperwork, but they didn't even know to do this.
Yeah.
And every single hour meant we had less people looking for search and rescue for survivors under the rubble. So I was very involved in that and very happy that 2 days later we got it because it took in Venezuela. That
You
was a
did.
dog.
Rubble.
Oh my God. I have so many bloopers because of my dog. Anyway, so we got it after 2 days. It took like 5 days for Venezuela. So I was concerned that it was going to also take again too long and people were going to perish. And so that's first of all. And then immediately there is an organization that just did relief for Venezuela, and that is a public-private partnership, in part getting funding from the state legislature right here in Florida, also from Miami-Dade County. Their headquarters here, and they're called GEM because they are a gem, I think. And they just get to work, and they have the facilities where people bring stuff. They have the planes,
Hmm.
and they transport, and they make sure to work very closely with not-for-profit organizations in each of the countries. And so it's really, really, that's just been amazing, the work going from Venezuela to Colombia, now, and we've been making sure also that volunteers show up to help sort all the donations
Yeah.
because it's a lot of work. You got to make sure that it's all organized and that you're not just sending things that maybe they can't use or that are going to go bad. In addition to that, the Red Cross in Colombia is actually really, really good and already on the ground. And so any monetary donations to Colombian Red
Red
Cross,
Cross.
it's the way to go, very safe. And the last one is Chef Andres, the guys that have built this organization, and they go anywhere in the world and really feed people that need to be fed. They've been to Ukraine, to Venezuela, and now they're in Colombia, and they just dedicated $1 million to make sure that they're there to feed people. So such good things that unfortunately come from such a horrible
Yeah.
situation. And I've been very busy. It's hard because it's literally we have an election on
Yeah.
Tuesday.
But
So, but
it's times like these where you truly see the human the human beings.
yeah. Yeah, no, it brings out the best. It unites people. Colombia is no different than the United States. A lot of division, a lot of, if you're from the left or you're from the right, then they don't even talk to each other, don't get along. It's really to see that it's spread in other parts of the world what's going on here. But I think, on the bright side, something like this really brings the best. And Colombian people are such good people. Always see the the glass not half empty, half
Half
full,
full,
and
yeah.
always see the positive, and always just such good attitude. And I just can't say enough about what great people Colombians are. And we have over 1 million of them right here in Florida, if you can believe that.
That's
It
I
really is a lot of people.
I've been seeing a few posts from people. There's someone that goes to my gym actually. She's Colombian and she's been posting about everything going on down there. But what was the name of the last organization that you mentioned?
I'm trying to remember. It's something kitchen, but it's Andres, Chef Andres, and I can't. But I always remember his name because he's the one that does all the good work. World Kitchen,
World Kitchen?
World Central Kitchen.
World Central Kitchen. Okay.
Yes,
I'll add
it's a
that to the
not for
list.
profit. Thank you. Those are the three that I recommend.
Well, he has a cookbook too. Feeding Humanity. That's cool.
He's a Latino chef that's
Hmm.
really, really good. And of course, Trump's criticized him tremendously. So
Of course. Yeah. Anybody
makes him
that
even better.
shows any type of a heartbeat, he will criticize.
Yes. Yeah.
You were talking about the division left versus right, and we had already said times like these show the human side. Who knows? Maybe down in Colombia when this is going on, when these people see like the government, the incoming and the outgoing not cooperating and causing the extra problems, maybe they'll be like, yeah, we don't want to do this anymore.
Yes. I hope so. I mean, we're certainly feeling it here with people feeling it in their pocketbook, and every time they go to the gas pump or go to the grocery store, it's really, I mean, when they start talking about anything but resolving those issues, you just like, why are we talking about this? Like when we
What
have such big problems with
what was it this
affordability.
morning? With the World Liberty Financial, the Trump family and what is it? The Witkoff family. They're becoming a bank. The Treasury approved it. I think that is the worst I've seen, and I just don't understand. I mean, you're going into a position that if that happened over Florida, that would be something you would be in charge of kind of being, no, that can't happen. So can you give me some insight onto what kind of safeguards should be in place for something like this?
We actually do have some safeguards in Florida. It's just that the current CFO and even the previous CFO, they weren't doing their job.
Hmm.
Job number one of a CFO is to be the watchdog for the people's money. And you are supposed to also be the one who puts out in the open everything by law, by the way. We have laws that say we have to publish every single contract. And we even have a website that's called FACTS, FACTS. And we see on there's about 600 million missing in contracts, which is not what it says in statute. And I have to tell you, I mean, that in itself, the fact that the job is not being done, what are they hiding? And lo and behold, you're able to see that some of the contracts that aren't put on are some of the ones from the friends and the
Mhm.
donors of those people in power. And it just really angers me because I don't care if it's left or right. This is the people's money, and all they're doing. You were talking about the creation of this bank, and how everything was approved. I mean, this is what they do, and
Mhm.
this is what ultimately is corruption. And by the way, it's costing all of us a tremendous amount of money. I mean, this is the true definition of corruption. When you see that, when you see $1.2 billion in Florida alone spent in Alligator Alcatraz
Mhm.
at $1 million a day, it's outrageous.
And there's no, like you said, paper trail. There's nowhere for anybody to be like, well, see, this is where I got to question you though, because you said that was the safeguard. If that was the safeguard, having those records in there, they're not there. Why are they still allowed to continue doing this?
Again, they're not following Florida statute. In addition to that, there's another part that is required by a CFO: emergency funds, no bid contracts. In statute, it says you are supposed to do an audit of that. He's not doing that. So he's not even doing his job, which is that. But why is he not doing that? When you go and dig a little deeper, you're able to see that there's vendors like CDR Enterprises, which is the largest beneficiary of emergency funds. They actually got the largest contracts for Alligator Alcatraz and the flights and all these other things. And then you look at their giving to politicians
Mhm.
and you see the unelected CFO that was appointed by DeSantis, Blaise Ingoglia.
Mhm.
He actually got $100,000 to his political committee.
From
So from CDR Enterprises, the largest contributor to him is CDR Enterprises. And he's not doing his job, which is audit these contracts. And why was it $1 million a day? I have to tell you, it would have been cheaper to put him up in the Holiday Inn, right?
and
Because if you
and
look at
and the accommodations would have been a lot more humanistic. On top of that,
absolutely,
like
we're not even talking about the
all
human
of that
part.
money
Exactly.
spent to keep people in a concentration camp.
It was so horrible. And then there's Doodie Calls, which is, I
Mhm.
mean, when I tell people outside of Florida, they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "I know you can't make this stuff up, but it is what it's called, duty calls." They get a tremendous amount of contracts from this emergency funding that is supposed to be, by the way, that funding is supposed to be for us. If there's a hurricane or a fire, we got fires going on right
Mhm.
now. And that funding, they have just decimated it. Now we started a new fiscal year and they're supposed to, I mean, they will have new funding, but and they did put some parameters in place because they saw that there was really no decision, I mean, it was all a political theater. Even with a majority Republican, they put some parameters in place so that DeSantis can't just go willy nilly and spend whatever he wants and give it to his friends. And all these vendors, by the way, over $1 million to the Republican Party of Florida and to DeSantis. I mean, we're talking about a lot of money. But at the end of the day, when they end up with these humongous contracts, well, of course,
I mean,
it's actually very little for
we
them to
just saw it
to
from our
invest.
commander in chief with the reflecting pool. He
Yes,
had his
exactly.
pool guy literally come do the reflecting pool, and look what happened. For anybody who doesn't know, Duty Calls, the state of Florida made about $92 million in payments to a porta-potty company. I'm right now trying to track down the ownership of that company, see where all that goes. But CDR Industries is something that really interests me as well. So thank you for mentioning that. Okay, so you were a state senator before. Last term ended in 2024. 2024, 2022?
Two.
Two. There he is. Yeah. What made you? Because you came into the CFO race in June, and I saw that Roos List recruited you. What
They
went into
worked
that
hard.
decision?
Frankly, running this year was not something that I thought I would be doing. But like everybody else, I just continued to get extremely frustrated at what is happening. I'm not somebody to be afraid of tough races. Statewide is not easy, but Rusas did say, and I will say my first reaction was, no, no, what are you crazy? But again, as I continue to feel the frustration and see just, from Alligator Alcatraz to all the fighting over power, but not really worrying about people and how everything is affecting people and how people are moving out of the state and how difficult it is. And I mean, look, I was there elected twice in the Florida Senate, and I actually spent 5 years on banking and insurance. And the entire time I was there, I fought the insurance industry just really, really hard. And they kept, trying to pass bills to help the insurance industry, claiming that we needed more competition. And I'm all for that. Of course, good choices are good, but they just kept laying out the red carpet for them and taking away the rights of homeowners, even to hire a lawyer when they won't even respond to your phone calls, let alone pay your claim when your roof caves in. So you pay for 30 years and now they can just they literally own the entire process. They get to walk and hire, and they get to say even who repairs your damn roof. I mean, it is so bad. And so, as someone who knows how they function and knows how they hide their profits because they are extremely profitable, this BS about them not making profit, it's it's a bunch of crap. We know, and they, by the way, they actually, we did a study, but they hid it. They hid it from us as we were voting on this bill that I was completely against, and that I personally told them this is going to raise people's bills. This is not lowering it. I had amendments on the floor and in committee that I said, please just give 5% reduction, give something, put something in writing on the bill. No, the reductions will be given to the people. Well, crapola, of course not. They didn't do it. We ended up, everybody's insurance has gone up. We pay an average of $8,000 a year. And for those renters, by the way, that think, oh, well, I'm a renter, you're paying for it. The reason your rent is
Yep.
so high is because
I
you
am
still got to pay for it.
I am in a 1,400 square foot house right now, paying $25.50 a month in Melbourne, in Brevard County. Yeah. So,
It's getting impossible. It's getting really, really hard, and there's so many things that we can do. One of the things that I want to implement is, first of all, requiring much more openness from them about their books and their profits going to other companies outside of the state, because it is unacceptable that they're hiding all this money. Also, how much they're getting paid, the CEOs and the executives. And also, by the way, those that close up shop and say, "Oh, we are out of money, we're insolvent," and they leave right when a hurricane hits. Then they turn around and come back
yep.
with another name. They're the same people. And guess who bailed them out? We did. So how can the CFO allow this company to come back who we had to bail out the people because they left us hanging? That's what pisses me off. And that's why I was like, I'm not gonna stand on the sidelines while they're doing all this. And people are truly angry, and I'm part of that. And so I just said, forget it. I'm doing it. And let's do this. Let's get it done, because we really do need good people at every level, and especially in these positions. And right now there's no checks and balances. We have a situation where you have one party in charge.
Hmm.
And you have a cabinet, and this is a cabinet level position, one of only 3 votes on the on the cabinet. And I mean, you have no one asking questions, no one truly defending the people who are defendless. And there
Tired.
is so much more that goes into this than insurance, but this is one big reason why I got in the race.
So you have some prior history with dealing with disasters with the insurance companies and all that in your own life, correct?
Yes, I actually moved here when I was straight out of college, and my parents' home was completely destroyed by Hurricane Andrew. And yes, and I was the one that dealt with the insurance companies. I was the one that dealt with the contractors and the new regulations because Miami-Dade was, of course, because there was so much destruction, they decided to put in new regulations for roofers, for rebuilding, and so I dealt with all that, and it's straight out of college. But it was the first home to be finished in my parents' neighborhood, and it was an experience that really left a mark on me of the difference and of what can happen if you have somebody really fighting for you versus not, because my parents were already retired, older. Obviously, my mom, an immigrant, my dad, just a lot older, and they just didn't have the energy to fight and to deal with it. And we lived in a motorhome for 6 months. After being away in college
Oof.
and living on your own, you
To come back
come back with my little dog, and I'm living in a motorhome in front of the driveway
on the phone with
for
the insurance
six
company every
months.
day.
Yeah, it was quite an experience. But
Well,
hey,
I'm a big believer that in order to sympathize appropriately with other people's struggles, you have to have gone through those struggles to some extent to yourself. So I think that shows a lot about you.
yes,
So
yes, but
full disclosure, I sat down and talked with Earle Ford at Leadership Blue. Can you explain to me, like, see, both Democrats, right?
yeah,
What is the difference in the platform, so to speak, or what is the distinction here? Because
I actually had made the decision to get in the race when he got in,
okay,
and I made sure I got in a little bit later, like a couple of weeks later, but I had made the decision already, was in the process of having run before statewide. I
yeah,
knew what it would take. So I started putting together a team and really doing all the things that you need to do to properly launch and have a website ready, have Act Blue ready, have all these things. And so I wasn't gonna, gonna just jump into a race and not do it properly. And so, but I did call him up and I let him know, hey, look forward to meeting you. And we did meet. I find him an amazing guy and really like him. And so, and I think we like each other. I mean, we've had a good relationship, seeing each other all over the state.
yeah,
I don't think there's much difference based on all the forums we have done. I really don't think that from a platform perspective, there's much difference. I think it really is more about experience and the type of experience that I do think it takes. And I will tell you from the when I first got to the legislature to and I went straight to the Senate to going through those two elections and serving, it really does teach you a lot, and you develop the expertise that it does take. And even the relationships, I will say. I mean, I was made the whip of the Senate Democrats for a reason, because I knew how to count, but I also knew how to get the right person to go to the bathroom at the right time, so you could
always been
kill a really
fascinated.
fat pill. I'm sorry?
I've always been fascinated by the position of whip. Like, it just
I
seems like so much extra work, kind of, right? Like, you got to be everywhere.
you gotta also know the especially know who's going to flip, who's going to vote with you, who you could go visit and talk to them from the heart and know a little bit about him. I knew we were doing Don't Say Gay, for example. We weren't going to kill it, but I knew which senator had a trans kid. I knew, I mean, we did so many bills where I just knew, and And it's really interesting. I'm going to tell you something. I mean, not many people know, but it is known and the media knows. I had Margarita Mondays. So in my office, my Jimmy Buffett machine, very large, travels with me, and we'd go to Tallahassee. And I gave every single senator a glass with their name on it and the seal on it, and we did it after hours, but it was Margarita Monday, and they would come, and even the president of the Senate would come, and it worked. I mean, it worked as far as letting people sort of have that that camaraderie and getting to know
Yeah.
each other and really understanding where they come from. So I knew which senators really didn't like the attack on home rule, which is a constant thing in Tallahassee. And I just knew also which ones were very pro union and which one, just I knew how to which ones were more of libertarian. So there's certain things you can work on them. But also when I first got there, one of the things that I did that I think really made a difference in building that relationship, because you got to realize, I mean, I used to be party chair in
Yeah.
Miami-Dade County, and you know, I got lots of people elected and really like turned Miami around, and we flipped Miami, and we made Miami-Dade County majority Democrat and all these things. And but really, I knew when I got there, they thought they were getting this like person that was never going to work with them or never just going to be there and just scream. And I was like, no, I want to deliver for the people, and wherever we can see eye to eye, let's do it. So what I did is I actually I won a special election. And so everybody had already filed their bills. And I started studying all their bills. And I made myself the goal of finding at least one bill from each senator that I could co-sponsor.
Mhm.
So I could find something in common. And then I went and met with each of them. And, I mean, the funny thing is the guy that I thought I would never find anything in common with was the guy that was always filing all the NRA bills. And I was like, oh my God, how am I ever going to find something in common? Well, it turns out that he was very much against any kind of dog abuse.
Mhm.
And really, dogs were something, and animals. And so we actually passed a bill against dog abuse and together. So I did find and building the relationship across the aisle that way. I do think those things are important. And in a time when, again, like we started, when we're so divided, it's really important to try to figure it out. Look, right now we're finding common ground with a lot of Republicans on the AI building of these places. I mean, I know that would like I mean, I am very much for a moratorium, and I think that we need to make sure that we know what we're doing and also that we're not paying for it
The
because
environmental
we
studies, they
always
just
end
haven't
up
taken time to do them.
no, and we always end up paying for it. And water is a precious, I'm not just talking about electricity. Water is a precious resource. I was actually I was actually somebody that and still believes that Nestle, for example, they sold it, but the bottled water from Nestle comes from our precious springs. And so I had a bill to not let them do that. They get it for free pretty much. I mean, they pay like $337 for a permit, and then they get millions of gallons out of our springs.
That
I
stuff
mean,
makes me so mad because
it's so
I was
maddening.
studying the other night. I was looking at the other night the different rules that the EU has for data centers and for Amazon, like their warehouses. The amount of regulations that these companies have to follow, and our excuse here is always, "Oh, we don't want to scare the companies away." They follow the regulations there.
Yes. Even in Virginia,
Mhm.
they're following them. So there are certain states that have put regulations and taxing in place.
They're destroying Virginia, though, aren't they? Building like way too many.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes. But I think we need to really learn more, and we don't know enough.
it
And I think it's just terrible that we're just gonna and that's why we need balance. That's why we need more people at the table to ask the questions and to also out the bad stuff, because that's the only way to get it out to the people so people find out.
we are more worried about a race for something that we don't even know the full potential or the negative consequences of it. And it's sad that people always get
Yes.
left behind. Okay.
Yeah.
I am running out of time, so I have one more quick question that I've asked everybody. If there was
Okay.
going to be a movie made on your campaign, who would play you and why?
Oh my gosh. I enjoyed Julia Dreyfus.
Julie Louis-Dreyfus? Big fan.
Yes. I've had all my fellows and campaign staff and different people always say that, that Veep show always reminded them of me. I tend to be funny
Mhm.
and always try to laugh and love to laugh and love to make light of a very tough situation, which campaigns are very stressful, and I like to have fun. So yes, I would say Julia Dreyfus.
Well, thank you for coming in on talking to me. Can you let anybody who's going to be watching this, let them know where to find all your links, your campaign information, everything?
Absolutely. It's AnnetteTaddeo.com is our website, and both Instagram, Twitter, I mean, or X, whatever. I hate to
Yeah, I don't go there.
and TikTok. All of them are pretty much Annette_Taddeo. I do think one of them is Senator Annette Taddeo, but I don't remember which one. But
I will go
Annette
hunting
Taddeo.
and I will link them all in the description of the video. I'll go find them all.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming and talking to me, Annette, and I wish you the best of luck on Tuesday. It's
Thank
coming
you
up
so much.
fast.
Yes, fast. We're excited. We're ready.